July 1917, Belgium, rain began to fall over the fields of Flanders, and it did not stop. For 3 years, the land around the Belgian town of Ypres had been scarred by artillery and poison gas. What once were farms and villages had become shattered earth. When the British launched a new offensive in the summer of 1917, they believed it would finally break the German lines. Instead, they created a nightmare. The battle would be known as Passchendaele, officially the Third Battle of Ypres. It would become one of the most horrifying episodes of World War I. Before the attack began, British artillery fired millions of shells at German positions. The bombardment destroyed trenches, roads, and villages, but it also destroyed something vital: the land's drainage system. When heavy rain arrived, the battlefield turned into a swamp. Mud swallowed everything. Men advanced through knee-deep sludge, carrying heavy packs and rifles. Each step required enormous effort. Soldiers slipped, fell, and struggled to stand again under constant shellfire. Wounded men screamed for help, but help could not reach them. Shell craters filled with water. Those who fell in often drowned, weighed down by equipment. Others were buried alive as mud collapsed around them. The battlefield itself became the enemy. German machine guns fired from concrete pillboxes, nearly invisible through rain and smoke. Every advance was met with devastating fire. Entire units were cut down within minutes. Yet the orders never stopped to advance. Again and again, men were sent forward across ground that no longer existed. Horses pulling artillery sank and vanished. Stretchers could not move. Supplies were lost in the mud. The dead lay where they fell, slowly disappearing beneath the surface. Some soldiers were swallowed completely. At night, the battlefield glowed with explosions. The rain mixed with blood. Rats fed on corpses. The wounded lay for days, crying until their voices faded. Morale collapsed. Veterans later said Passchendaele was worse than the Somme. At least at the Somme, they could see the ground. Here, there was nothing solid to stand on, and still, the fighting continued. Canadian troops were eventually brought in to capture the village of Passchendaele itself, or shattered collection of ruins sitting on slightly higher ground. Even this small advantage came at an enormous price. The Canadians advanced step by step, building wooden walkways over the mud as they went. German artillery destroyed them repeatedly. Progress was measured in yards. Men fought while exhausted beyond reason. On November 6, 1917, after months of suffering, the village of Passchendaele was finally captured. There was nothing left to capture. No buildings, no civilians, no strategic breakthrough. Just mud and bodies. The cost was staggering. Nearly 500,000 soldiers from both sides were killed or wounded for a few miles of ground that held little value. The offensive achieved none of its major objectives. Winter arrived soon after, ending large-scale fighting in the area. The battlefield was abandoned, but it did not release its victims. Even after the war, bodies continued to surface from the mud for decades. Farmers uncovered bones while plowing fields. Unexploded shells still lie buried beneath the soil today. Passchendaele became a symbol not of heroism, but of the madness of industrial war. Soldiers who survived carried memories they could never escape. Many suffered from shell shock. Others returned home silent, unable to explain what they had seen. They remembered the mud. They remembered men drowning without water. They remembered a battlefield that consumed the living as easily as the dead. World War I would continue for another year. More battles would come, more men would die. But Passchendaele proved something horrifying. There were no limits anymore. Not to suffering, not to sacrifice, not to destruction. In the rain-soaked fields of Flanders, humanity itself seemed to sink into the mud, struggling, gasping, and finally disappearing beneath the weight of war. Passchendaele was not just a battle, it was a warning. A warning written in rain, blood, and silence about what happens when leaders send men forward without knowing how to stop.